into it. Okay. Good stuff. So I've got everything I need here. Perfect. So Ben, welcome to the Jack Revell Show. It's so good to see you, my friend. We have known each other for a long time and done many of these. This is our first podcast together.
Yes, we have known each other since way back when in primary school. Was it primary school or secondary school? Long time.
It's been a long time. But look, we've kind of tapped bases over the years, what with starting at school, and then we kind of like went our separate ways. And actually I contacted you about training, back in the day. I was heading out to South Africa and I needed to get myself whipped into shape, and Ben whipped me into shape.
Certainly did that.
And
sorted, didn't I?
Absolutely. And then in more recent times, we've been very much on the social media side of things with lockdown, and your brand has just exploded over the last couple of months. And I've got so many exciting things that I want to talk to you about, and I hope that our listeners are really, really interested in. But for those at the view that maybe don't know who Ben Coleman is, would you mind introducing yourself and giving us your background?
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Well, thanks again for having me on. It's a pleasure to be on your podcast. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Ben Coleman, or AKA Ben Coleman Fitness. I'm a personal trainer, a online coach, and a nutritional advisor. So I've been running my business, my mobile personal training business, for just over 10 years now. Wow, where's that gone? Just over 10 years, going to people's houses and basically unloading my car full of kit and training them. In recent years, I have been fortunate enough to train some celebrity clients, which has boosted my profile and been an absolute amazing experience. And even more recently, I am now an online coach. So I have my own app where clients can train with me anywhere around the world, which is so good. I'm so grateful for social media to reach these people that aren't in the country or aren't around the corner from me, is that they can get the same benefits that my other clients do, all from a mobile phone, which is absolutely amazing. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Fantastic. Ben, look, it all sounds like you've got life figured out. You're doing your thing. You've got celebrity clients. You've got people all over the world watching you and training with you. And for those that do follow Ben, and I hope you do, I'll link all of his socials in the show notes below. But his Instagram went mental over lockdown because he was doing daily Instagram live workouts, which was just, incredible from the point of view of just the dedication and the commitment, but also just the energy that you bring to everything is always. I'm always amazed at how much energy you bring. Like if I'm ever feeling a bit down or whatever, I look at Ben's page and I can always guarantee a bit of a giggle from one of his videos.
A lot of coffee, right?
Absolutely. But look, it's something that I wanted to touch on today that maybe isn't spoken about so widely with your circles and your story, but it wasn't always sunshines and rainbows the whole way through, was it?
No, it wasn't. Go on. What were you going to say?
It's something that I know about only because I've known you for so long, but I don't think many people do. So if you're happy sharing, I think people would really appreciate hearing the backstory as to how you kind of went through probably one of the worst things that could have happened to you in your life and to get you to where you are today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, pleasure to talk about experience of it. If it only helps one person, then made a difference and spread the awareness. It's all about it. So guys, I don't know, some of you might know it. A lot of my obviously close friends know it. A few of my followers might know it. I don't post too much about it. But when I was 23, so I'm 31 now. So when I was 23, I was diagnosed with testicular cancer. So it was completely out of the blue. I had no symptoms whatsoever. I was fit as a fiddle, fitter than I am now, I guess, because I was only 23. So I had youth on my side, and I was training clients, training myself twice a day, 3 times a day sometimes. And, typical 23-year-old going on holiday, going to Ibiza, out with the lads, keeping myself fit, having a good time. And one day I just, I was having a fiddle, actually. And
as you do, as you do at 23.
We do like to have a scratch now and again, don't we? And I felt a lump. And as I say, I had no other symptoms other than that. And I thought, that's not right. What's going on there? And I Googled it straight away. And it pretty much told me straight away what it was. If it was a cyst, it would have been squidgy in texture. And and they said 9 times out of 10 it is a cyst. And I was thinking, right, it's not a cyst, but
On
what's
on,
what?
on
Go on.
that, just was it like a third ball, or was
Oh
it
no,
an
no,
extra
it
to the
wasn't that
two
big.
balls you already had?
No, it wasn't that big. It wasn't. It was, I'd say, the size of like a peanut, like a monkey nut chopped in half, or yeah, half of a peanut attached to one of my testicles. So it was a clear sort of ridge to it, and I thought, wow, that's definitely not right. So yeah, after
It
googling it, go on.
I just want to kind of clarify, because I've not had this, and I'm sure not many people listening would have had this problem. But lads feel their balls all the time, and
Yeah,
not often do I ever go looking for something. And in my head, when you say I went for a feel and it found something, I'm thinking it's something big enough for it to be like, well, that's not right. But the size of a nut, it's not that big, right? It's not something that you would necessarily get sort of too like, whoa, shit, what's that down there kind of thing. You must, it's almost like you have to have quite a good feel around on a regular
yeah.
basis to
I
see if
was
that
having a
sort of
good.
thing
I
is.
was gonna having a good fiddle, yeah.
And so,
But
because a lot of people would have a fiddle kind of, maybe daily, I don't know, but people have a fiddle all the time and kind of would miss that. And so
yeah.
how long had you had it once you went to the doctors, and what was the sort of, what was the initial thought process that you went through when you found it?
Um, well, the initial thought process was instant panic. But the doctors didn't say, they said was you've caught it early. So it was stage 1, which was very, very lucky, very treatable. But they didn't say how long I would have had it. I'm sure I couldn't have had it too long. I reckon, less than a month. Um, and yeah, as you say, it wasn't huge, but it was definitely. And I mean, we know our balls, don't we? We know what they feel like. Generally they're smooth, and there was an obvious ridge on this, which definitely wasn't right. So I booked in with an emergency appointment to see the GP that day, and I went straight down there, and she had a little feel herself, and lucky girl, but but she actually couldn't feel it, and she said, I'll get you a scan anyway, just to put your mind at rest, but it's probably a cyst. And I said, do you want to have another feel? I actually said, have another feel, because you're definitely not feeling
And
what.
here's my number.
Yeah. I bought her dinner after, but she said she couldn't feel it. She said, get me a scan anyway. Anyway, I think this all happened it was on a Monday, and I went for a scan the next day, and it was an ultrasound, and the bloke was like, you were right to come down here. And I said, why is that? And he said, I can't tell you, right until you have your meeting, I can't tell you, but you were definitely right to come down here. I thought, oh, God, that was bloody lucky. I persisted then, because she was ready to sort of just say, it's nothing, don't worry about it. And then within, another day, I'd had a second ultrasound to make sure it was cancerous. Then I had the meeting, and they told me, yeah, it's cancerous. There's it's got cancerous cells, and we're just going to get rid of it. So they made it sort of sound like it was, we're just going to get rid of it, and then you'll be on your way. Which I was fine with it. It's a bit of banter with the lads. Hey, one ball Ben. I'd have it out on the Friday. So within that week, I had it out, and I was back to work on the Monday. I probably shouldn't have gone back to work, but it was such a small operation. I was in and out within the day, and pretty much back to normal. And then obviously I had to go back to the hospital 2 weeks later for the results. And I remember the night before, there was no fear. I remember the doctor saying, when he told me, you seem pretty nonchalant about it. And I said, well, yeah, you're telling me they're just going to get rid of it. Yeah, that's fine. And that'll be the end of it. And he said, yeah, that should be fine. You might have to have a shot of chemo. And with the way he said it, a shot, I literally thought he meant, oh, you have a little jab, because I didn't know anything about chemo back then. I thought, little jab and I'll be on my way. So they didn't really warn me. And then it was the night before my results. So 2 weeks later, the night before my results, and I hadn't thought any I hadn't had any fears or anything. And all of a sudden, I just had this dread and this fear. And I thought, hang on, I'm going in for my results. They've chopped up my testicle and they've looked at it under a microscope and they've seen what type of cancer it is. And they're going to tell me if I need treatment or, you know, how aggressive this cancer is. And I shit myself. I thought, oh my God. And I went down to my mum and I said, Mum, you do realize they could tell me anything tomorrow. Like I don't know how serious this is. This could be terminal. This could be, God knows what this could be. And she was like, don't worry. Anyway, so the next day we went to Guildford Hospital and I just had this feeling, you know, when you know that feeling, you know, it's not right in your gut. And your mum's saying, it's fine. It's, you know, it's fine. She wasn't worried. I mean, she was worried, obviously, but she was like, it's fine. They said you won't have any chemo, blah, blah, blah. And they made us wait for 4 hours in the hospital. I couldn't believe it. 4 hours. They finally called our name and we went into this room, which was connected to another room. And there was just one door and plasterboard, really thin plasterboard. And I could hear them murmuring. Mum's trying to distract me. And I could hear, and I heard, okay, who's up next? Ben Coleman. And I just heard 3 cycles and my heart just sank. So I heard my diagnosis and I heard my treatment before they even told me. And I said to Mum, they've just told me I'm having 3 cycles of whatever chemo. And she said, no, they haven't. Anyway, they came in the room 2 minutes later and their faces said it all. They didn't have to say anything, you know. And they basically said, so we examined the cancer, we've examined the tumor, and yeah, it's pretty aggressive type of cancer. Although you've called it early, it is an aggressive type of cancer, which means that there will be cancerous cells floating around your body, and we need to make sure that they don't then spread and turn into tumors. So they basically said, you've got 3 options. They said, we can watch and wait. So we just keep an eye on your tumor markers, we keep an eye on your bloods, and if anything happens, then we go for the chemo straight away. We're not too happy with doing that because really we know that the chemo works and you won't have to come back once you've done it. The second option is the usual cycle, which is 3 cycles of, it's called BEP chemotherapy. So it's the type of chemotherapy they use for testicular cancer. So it's 3 months of aggressive chemotherapy. You're going to lose your hair. You're going to be sick. You know, you're going to have all the symptoms. And they listed all these symptoms. I thought, oh my God, this is horrendous. The third option was a trial drug, which was actually the same as the second option, but it was just half the time. So it was half the time. Well, actually, no, it was a month. It was only a month rather than 3 months. And they said it's a trial, but the studies point towards the same outcome with obviously less side effects. So you're only going to have chemo for a month. You will lose your hair, but as soon as the month's up, it's going to start growing back again. And there's less side effects with fertility and all that sort of stuff. So they said, look, you've got a week to decide. You can go away and come back, and we'll have your answer then. And I said to them, what would you do? And they said, I would go for the trial. And my dad actually had chemotherapy. He had leukemia when I was younger, and he had a trial drug, and it cleared it up. So I was like, yeah, I'm really keen for this trial. Obviously, less chemo, the better. Anyway, went back a week later, and they had that face again. And I was like, what are you going to tell me now? This is, I don't like the look of this. And they said, look, we've done your bloods again and your tumor markers haven't dropped. And we expected after we take out the testicle that your tumor markers would drop down, and they haven't. And I said, what does that mean then? They said, right, you don't have the options now. We have to do the 3 months of chemo. We have to do the extensive, aggressive form of chemo. And I was like, shit. And I remember, I think it was the first time I went there. I remember I came out. So 2 weeks had gone by and I didn't have any feeling. I didn't have any doubts or worries or anything. And I remember coming out, and this was the worst moment of my life. I came out and got into the car. Sorry, getting a bit emotional. Got into the car with my mum, and my brother called me, and he said, "So what's the outcome?" And I couldn't physically speak. I literally couldn't speak to him. I couldn't get the words out. I just hung up on him, and I burst into tears. Mum's driving down the A3. She's burst into tears as well. She's holding my hand, and we're both just a bawling mess. And it was that moment when I thought, shit, my life is in someone else's hands now. I am not as healthy as I thought I was. And it just really hit home. Like, I'm honestly getting emotional thinking about it, because that moment of just pure fear of what is going to happen to me. Like, am I going to be okay? Like, I just don't know. You know, I've watched films and you've heard stories and stuff like that. And then you're realizing that you're living that life and you are that person. Anyway, it was horrendous. So yeah, then they told me I didn't have the choice, so I had to do the chemo. And 2 weeks later, I started chemotherapy, and yeah, that was it.
Ben, thanks for sharing that, man. That's
No
a
worries.
story and a
It's
half.
quite emotional. Just getting back to it. I haven't spoken about it in quite a long time, actually.
Yeah, look, I appreciate you sharing it with me and the listeners. Look, it's how do I say this? Going through something like that can not only physically be tiring and exhausting, but also the mental side of it as well comes into it. You know, you were a fit, healthy, ambitious 23-year-old lad who had everything in front of him ready to go, and then suddenly you found something on your own accord. It's not like you went for a routine check and they found it. You found this on your own accord. And as you said before, it's lucky that you found it, but then you even persisted with the nurse, and there was so many things that could have not happened for you to get to this
So many
point.
variables. Yeah, definitely.
So just share with me, if you would, what was going through your mind when it all started to sink in? Like, what sort of thoughts were you having, and sort of where did you see yourself kind of going over the next week, 2 weeks, 5 weeks? You know, what was the sort of the initial feeling you got?
I initially, a lot of anxiety. I suffered with depression through it, and a lot of fear, just the fear of the unknown. And a lot of that was before I started the chemo. So I had about 2 weeks before I started chemo, and I stupidly went on forums of, I think it was Macmillan and stuff like that, and I started reading forums, and I think I was talking to some people that were going through it or had been through it, and that really didn't actually help. And there were some horror stories on there, and I basically didn't know what I was about to go into. All I knew what the doctors were telling me, but you know, all I knew was I'm going to be sick. I'm going to be constantly throwing up. I'm going to be, you know, a shell of a man, and you know, I'm not going to be working. I'm not going to be training. I'm not going to have any appetite. I'm going to lose my hair, so I'm not going to be going. I'm not going to want to socialize with my friends. You know, it was the fear of also, am I even going to get through this? Like, how severe is this? You know, I didn't know if the chemo would work. You know, that was my main fear. Like, oh, I could do the chemo, and it might not even work, and they might say, sorry, we can't help you. And so it was the fear of the unknown, what was about to come. And when I actually started the chemo, I was waiting to be sick and throw up, and that was another fear, because you just don't know when it's going to hit. Like, they're dripping bags into you in the hospital, and you've just got this trolley with a bag attached for 3 days at a time, and you're just laying there. And I kept saying to the nurse, when am I going to be sick? Which chemo bag is going to make me sick? And I remember her saying at 2:00 in the morning one night, she said, if you're going to be sick, this is the bag that's going to make you sick. So I couldn't sleep all night. I felt sick, but I probably worked myself up. And I didn't throw up. I actually didn't throw up once throughout the whole time. Don't get me wrong, I felt pretty rough, but I didn't feel sick. But mentally, it affected me more than physically. My mental state just went initially to shit. I was just a nervous wreck. I didn't know. I was scared of everything, and I didn't know what to do. I was depressed. I couldn't sleep. And yeah, I was just walking around like a zombie around mum and dad's house. I just didn't really know what to do with myself. I had a great support system around me, though. You know, friends and family were absolutely amazing. So they got me through it. And then I think halfway through, I thought, fuck this. Well, I voiced it straight away. I think I made a blog, and I was writing a blog which went out to quite a few people, which was really good. And I got a lot of feedback from people that were going through it, or they had, you know, sons that were going through it, or just any, you know, nice people around Australia and America and the UK. It reached quite a lot of people, and that kind of thing really helped me. And then I thought, do you know what? Voicing it and talking to people and actually telling them about my experience is helping me. And not doing it for really anyone else too much. It's mainly for me. And then I turned it around into what I tried to turn it around to a positive. So I've always been kind of into The Secret, which is, you know, the law of attraction and, you know, positivity. And I changed it around and I started creating vision boards. So everything I wanted to achieve after I was better, everything I wanted to attain in life. So I put a book on there, an ebook on there. I put a car that I wanted. I put an apartment that I wanted to get. I wanted to skydive, I wanted to surf. What else did I want to do? Loads of stuff that I wanted to do.
And
Swim with whale
at this
sharks.
stage, are you sort of midway through chemo and you're kind of
Yeah,
like not really sure how much longer you've got or whether it's going to work or not, and you're kind of just you're in no man's land, you're in limbo, right?
yeah, literally, yeah. So this is halfway through chemo. I kind of tried to turn it around because I thought this is not working. You know, this negativity is not working. So I need to do something, and I need to have goals. I had a little chat with myself, and I just thought, you're gonna get better. They're telling you you're gonna get better. So you need goals, and you need something to come out of this and go and smash the shit out of life. And yeah, the vision board really helped me. And I woke up every day and I envisioned all these things that I wanted and I wanted to do and take back control of my life. I had a chemo calendar when I was crossing off the days, literally with a red pen, crossing off the days every day, getting closer and closer to the last day. And that really got me through it. And then I went back. So the chemo was finished. But during chemo, I found out that there was quite high chance that I would have to have another operation. So I did a lot of reading, which maybe I shouldn't have, but you know, I asked the nurses and the doctors, and I said, look, I've heard about this operation, and it's of the lymph nodes. It's straight down the middle of your stomach. Am I going to have this? Because it's quite common in testicular cancer to have this. And they said, no, in America, you would have that anyway. So whether it spread or it didn't, they would take the lymph nodes out. But in UK, we only do that if it has spread, and you have such a small amount of cancer and the chemo's working that you won't have it. But I just had that feeling again, and I had that dread, and I thought, I just don't believe you. And I just felt like everything they told me, they were brilliant. I don't get me wrong, they were brilliant, but I just felt like everything they told me, they ended up having to do. They said, oh, you won't have to do this, and now you've got to do it. So it was kind of like, I just didn't believe. I had that horrible negative fear again. And lo and behold, I went back for my results of the scan to see if it had spread, and it had spread. So I'd done 3 months. I'd done one operation to remove the testicle. I'd done 3 months of chemotherapy. I'd finished that. I'd been re-scanned, and I was hopefully just about to be ticked off, and I was on my way. And they said, no, I'm really sorry. You've got one last thing to do. And I said, it's the operation, isn't it? It's the big one. And they were like, it is. It's not as big as you think. The scar is big, but the operation itself is very simple. The problem is we're taking out lymph nodes, and that there's a tumor in front of your spine. So it's right in front of your spine. So we can't go in the back because your spine's in the way. We have to go in the front, but to do so, we need to cut you all the way down the middle. I can show you the scar if you want. All the way down the middle, round the belly button, and we need to take out all your intestines, put them on your chest. That's what they're telling me. We'll put the intestines on your chest, and then we just go pluck, 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 take out the tumor, take out the rest of the lymph nodes that are in front of your spine. And then we put all your intestines back up and then zip you back up, and you're good to go. And by this point I was thinking, yeah, and then what? And they're like, no, that's it. And I said, well, then you're gonna dissect the tumor that's in the lymph nodes. Then you're going to tell me I need more chemo, aren't you? And they were like, no, you shouldn't have. And I said, but there's a chance. And they said, there's a very, very slim chance. I thought, oh God, this is just a vicious cycle. They're going to take that out, find cancer. Then I'm going to need more chemo. When's this nightmare going to end? You know, by this point, it'd been going on almost a year, and I was, you know, a 23-year-old lad. I just didn't know what to do. But I maintained that positivity. I had the operation. I spent a week in hospital. I could barely move. They even gave me an epidural. So I was literally like paralyzed down here. So I couldn't feel any pain, which was pretty good. And yeah, after that, then I finally went back again for the results of that. And I just had that fear. And I'm not one to believe in God. I'm not really religious at all, but I thought, fuck it. I'm sitting outside the waiting room, and they're making me wait for about an hour as usual. And I thought, fuck it, I may as well try it. So I closed my eyes and said a little prayer. I said, please just let this be the end of it. I've just, whatever you want, I'll be a good boy. Just please let this be the end of it. I've had enough of it. And I went in that room and he just smiled and he said, it's all over. He said, we've got it all. And there's no active cancer in that tumor. We've zipped you back up. Now it's just a road to recovery after that operation. And I think that was in October. And it was a couple of days before my birthday, my 24th birthday. And I got the all clear on that day. And then I also went home and I got the keys to my flat that I'm in now on the same day. And sorry. Yeah, it was just insane. I couldn't believe the whole nightmare was over. And it was such an amazing feeling to finally be out of it and to look at the vision board and go, hang on, it's working already. What's going on? So we've got the keys on this. I mean, that is weird. The same day I got the all clear, the same day I got the keys to my flat, which was on my vision board. About a year or two later, I released my first ebook, which again was on my vision board. About 6 months after, I bought the same car that was on there. I mean, down to the color, even the color of the interior. It was a BMW M Sport convertible. Bad boy. I skydived not only once, I've done it 3 times, swam with whale sharks, surfed. I didn't learn to surf, but I've surfed. And there was about 3 or 4 other things on there. And I've done them all. And it was weird because I didn't actively seek out to do them. And I'd moved out. So the vision board was in my mum and dad's garage. And I went back about a year later. Well, I've been back since, but I went back and went in the garage and I pulled it out. It was behind a load of stuff. And I was like, oh God, there's my vision board. I remember that. I pulled it out, looked at it, and I just thought, oh my God, I have done not one thing is on there that I haven't done. And I just couldn't believe the power of positivity. You know, it was freaky. It was scary. But amazing at the same time. So yeah, that was the ordeal. And I think I got the all clear in October, around about my birthday. And then because obviously it's a big scar, so I had to be really careful for another couple of months. By Christmas, I was back in the gym, and I think by January, I was doing chin-ups. And I think about 6 months later, I had a six-pack back again. Oh, that was one of the main things on there. There was a bloke with ripped abs, and yeah, by 6 months to a year later, I had the old rock hard abs back. Then they've gone away again temporarily at the moment, but yeah, that was one of my main goals, just get my body back into shape, because you know it went to shit. Chemo fucks your body, and all the operations, I couldn't train, I couldn't eat well, I barely wanted to eat, so I lost a lot of weight. And yeah, I just wanted my life back, I wanted my body back, and I think I did that and then some. So yeah, the power of positivity, man.
I love that. The power of positivity is talked about at length in books and on blogs, and God, it's you know, it's the hot topic of the time. But you know, to hear an actual story of it actually working and seeing it in the flesh is something that makes it real. And the, you know, the power of now, the universe, whether you believe in God or not, it doesn't matter. So long as you've got the belief that you can get something that you really want, then that's all that matters. The question I've got for you, Ben, is what have you learned from the whole experience? You know, you've gone from the pits of the bottom of where you could possibly be in life, and you've now hit the point where you're right back up to the Ben that I know and I remember and see you as the happy, you know, successful, passionate guy that I love to see. There's a big gap there, right? And there's got to be some learnings in there. What is it that you've taken away as something that you can move forward with going into the rest of your life?
So much, man, so much. Like before that experience, I suffered with a lot of anxiety, especially through sort of college and university. And I didn't really know what it was. I didn't really know, there wasn't this whole hype about it, and it wasn't as talked about as much. So I didn't actually know what it was. And I just knew that everything scared me and everything made me feel a bit sick. Especially in lectures and things like that, I you know, if I was a bit uneasy, I didn't know people, I didn't understand what the lecturer was saying. I just, you know, and since that experience, that anxiety has gone away, because if it ever comes back and I feel that sort of little monster going, oh, that situation is going to be a bit nervous, you're going to be a bit nervous there, or you're going to feel a bit sick, and you know, you're going to meet those people, you're going to socialize with that person, or you're going to meet this new client. And whereas before I would almost talk myself out of it. I'd probably talk myself out a lot of things, especially at uni. I wouldn't do a lot of things, and it would really take over. I don't have that anymore. And if it ever tries to come back, I have a little word with myself and I say, Ben, there's worse things in life than the situation. There's only a positive to take from the situation you're about to go into now, than a negative. You need to just turn it into a positive. So my anxiety is just, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's still situations where I shit myself a little bit, but I just swallow it and I just go, let's get on with it. And it's never as bad as it seems. Everyone gets nerves, but that horrendous, overwhelming, sickening feeling that shouldn't really be there, but it is, from doing something so simple and so routine. That experience has taught me that, you don't need to be scared about these little things, because obviously there's worse things in the world. It's also taught me to be a yes man. So anything that I wanted to do before, again, the anxiety would creep up and I would go, oh no, because there's people you don't know there, or you don't want to try that, or I don't have that anymore. I just go, yes, do it. So I packed my bags after, must have been a year later, so I was fully recovered. I packed my bags and I just went to Australia. I didn't even ask. I don't think I asked anyone to go with me. And I would never have ever dreamt that I would do anything like that. I envied people that would do that, because I knew that I would never do that. I knew that I wasn't that type of person that could go pack a bag and just go to another country, let alone the other side of the world, and just travel around and meet new people and fend for yourself in such a different country. And instead of being scared, I was scared, but instead of letting that overcome me, I embraced it. And I thought, yeah, it's going to be scary, but it's going to be amazing. And it was the best experience of my life. I know people do it every day, but that was so out of the ordinary for me. That wasn't me. And I just went for it, and I traveled for 3 weeks, and I tried to do as much of the East Coast as possible. I know you've been there as well. You've lived there for a while, so you know how amazing it is. I met some amazing people, some crazy ass experiences. That was the first time I skydived, so I was killing a lot of birds with one stone, smashing off that vision board. And I came back and I just had this new lease of life that really sort of did it for me. And I thought, I can do that. I can do anything, then released the book. And so it's made me into a person, well, I'd say a better person. It's a shame that I had to go through that to change me. But in a weird way, I'm kind of grateful for that experience, because now I live my life in such a more fulfilled way and better way. I treat people better. I treat people with more respect, and I do things for me as well. I do things that, I would never have done, and I would never have experienced if it hadn't been for going through that, that life-threatening, traumatic experience. So it is strange to say that I'm grateful for it, but yeah, you get what I mean. It's allowed me to do these things that I would never have done with very little fear. And anything that crops up now, I'm like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. We're gonna go at it big time. So yeah.
It's, what the thing that springs to my mind is the simple case of reframing. A lot of what I do in work and with my clients is I help them reframe things that may look like a scary thing on the surface, but actually if you reframe it, it could be excitement, or it could be curiosity. And I think you said it perfectly there, that when you were at university and things used to make you anxious or scared, you wouldn't do them, but you knew if you did them, you'd probably have a good time doing it. Then when Australia came along and the opportunity to go traveling, you looked at that still as a scary opportunity, but you reframed it as like, no, it's an opportunity. It's exciting. It's something that I haven't done yet, and it's going to shape me as a person. But it's not to say everyone has to go through what you've been through, but there is definitely an element and a lesson there to be had of trying new things and putting yourself outside your comfort zone really does shape you as a person, and if you do it and you love it, great. If you do it and you don't, at least you've tried, and at least you know where your boundaries lie, and that kind of what says it to me. Now, moving forward, man, that was 5-6 years ago now. You're back to the old Ben, one ball Ben. But man, you've gone leaps and bounds since then, and as of recently, we've connected, and I want you to just tell people kind of where you're at now. That there's that sort of very kind of a paradoxically dark and light time of your life throughout that sort of 23, 24, 25 stage, but now you're in your 30s. Like what's happening for you now that you're proud of and that you can shout about?
So yeah, in the most recent years, I've been lucky enough to train some amazing people. Well, you know, in the last 10 years, I've trained some amazing people, but in the more recent years, some celebrities, some amazing athletes, you know, people in film, in movies and TV. It's just from all walks of life. And, you know, it was always the dream of mine, you know, from the age of 18, 19, when I decided I want to be a PT. It was always the dream to be that celebrity trainer or be a celebrity trainer, and just, you know, meet these people, let alone train them, was just such an amazing experience. So yeah, I'm super grateful for you know, the clientele that I have and have had over the last couple of years, and it just seems to be growing. And this online platform, Instagram, that I have, and this following that I have, a bunch of amazing people. You know, the comments and the messages that I get every day saying that, you know, I've been following your workouts, I've lost all this weight, I've done this, or you've helped me love exercise when I hated exercise. You've made it fun instead of boring. You know, it honestly, it melts my heart, but also it just shows that all that hard work was worth it. And I love what I do. I love helping people, and I love changing people's behaviors, because that is the hardest thing to do, changing someone's behavior from bad habits to good habits, even if it is a slow progressive journey. But yeah, that's what I'm doing now. So I'm sort of doing the half training my clients and half training online clients, and building my platform and my online sort of platform status, which I love. You know, it's amazing to reach out to these people that you wouldn't normally be able to because of social media and technology. So it's brilliant.
And so for all of my listeners in you know, in Japan and Australia and Korea and so New Zealand and Canada and the Philippines, and obviously all these listeners that are definitely tuning into this, where, you know, what is it that they can find you? You know, let's say someone is thinking like, God, you know, I've just had something happen to me, or I've just spent the last 3 months in lockdown eating crisps and cookies, and I need to get myself in shape, and I don't know where to start, and I don't have anyone that I can inspire to be like. They've just listened to this and they've taken something away from your story, and they want to know more. Where can they go?
So they can find me on all sorts of platforms. So Instagram is my favorite, actually. I'm probably most active on that. So at Ben Coleman Fitness. Same on Facebook, at Ben Coleman Fitness. You can go to my website, www.bencolemanfitness.com. Pretty much Googled Ben Coleman Fitness and I should pop up on a lot of things. Twitter, but I don't really use Twitter too much. But yeah, Instagram, drop me a DM, give me a follow. I've got plans out there. So my ebook, obviously, that I released about 4 or 5 years ago. I've recently, I'm just about to launch. When's this going? When's this going on air? When's this airing?
So we'll probably your course will be launched by the time this goes live.
Okay, cool. So all right, cool. So so you'll be listening to this now, guys, but it'll be out there now. I am launching my 90-day challenge. So 90 days of body weight workouts all through my app. It's 5 workouts a week for 13 weeks. It is amazing. I've spent the last 3-4 months just plowing away at it, and it's finally finished and it's looking tip top. So that's out. That should be out now. I'm speaking for the future.
And so for people listening, and they're like, well, I don't even know how to walk to the fridge, or I know how to walk to the fridge and I know how to take my dog for a walk. What do they need to know about this 90-day plan? What's it going to help them? What's it going to help them with?
So it's going to help them lose weight, so burn fat, increase their muscle size, improve their fitness level. It's going to teach them not just how to exercise, but it's going to teach them how to eat healthy as well. So I'm going to be the brilliant thing about my app is there's a message service directly into the app. So it targets all the people that have signed up, and I can talk to them individually or I can talk to them all at once. It creates this community. So you'll be enrolled in this community as well, where I will be feeding you all sorts of tips and tricks on how to stay motivated, how to eat well, you know, what types of food to eat, how many calories to eat, based on your goal and based on your body weight and things like that. So just, I'm there the whole way, keeping you motivated and pushing you to the next level. I don't just give you the plan and then just go, see you later, thanks for your money. I give you the plan, and then you get me as well. You know, I love talking to people, and I love engaging with people and answering their questions and putting them back on the right track if they veered off a little bit. So I'm there 100% of the way. But yeah, overall, you're going to increase your fitness level. You're going to burn fat, increase muscle, and hopefully you're going to enjoy it as well. You're going to
Do you need equipment? Do you need to be next to a gym?
That's the thing. Don't need anything. You can do it from the comfort of your own home. You don't even need to go outside. So you can do it all in a small space. Little living room will do. Your kitchen, bedroom, whatever you want. You can go outside if you want to do it anywhere. So it's all on the app, and you just follow along with me. You'll follow along. Each exercise has a video and has a description as well. So you literally can't go wrong. It's foolproof.
Fantastic.
So yeah, that's out there now. I'm super excited to launch it. It's been a long time coming, but yeah, it's brilliant.
And that's on your website as well as via your social links, right?
Yeah, you'll see a lot of plugs from my social media, but if you want to go direct, bencolemanfitness.com, and then you'll see a tab saying the 90-day challenge. Click that, and you can either purchase the whole plan, or if you want to try one of the single months, you can buy them individually as well. So if you're a bit of a commitment phobe, you can sign up to one of the months first, and then if you love it, get the next one, which you will love it. Get the next one, and then the next one. But my advice with you guys is just go for it. Just say yes, and just go 90-day challenge. And you know, it's called a challenge because it is a challenge. It's not going to be easy. You're going to come out of it, and you're going to be hopefully ripped. You're going to feel amazing. You're going to look amazing, and you know, and then onwards and upwards from there. So just go for it.
Man, that's great. It's you know, from me, seeing the journey you've been on is great. And I've trained with Ben personally. Ben and I did one-on-one training for about 2.5-3 months before I went off to Cape Town a couple of years ago, and he absolutely stripped me down and got me into a place where I was able to go and do what my past life of male modeling was back in the day, and book some amazing jobs. And but not only is Ben just a personal trainer, he is such an inspiration to everyone. And if you watch his Instagram, I mean, it gives you just a little slice of flavor of what he's like as a person. He's always got energy. He's always doing fun things. He's always got advice, and he's there to help people. And on that, I just wanted to quickly talk to you about how, if someone's listened to this story and has taken something away from particularly things like the vision board and kind of just having that positive mental attitude going forward from such a low point in your life through to where you are now, what advice can you give to people who may be going through or have been through something of a similar nature?
So the best advice I could give is try and stay positive. I know it's difficult at times. You won't be able to stay positive, or you'll find it difficult to stay positive 100% of the time. But if you can get moments and snippets throughout that you know, that traumatic experience, snippets of positivity, that will, you know, it's so powerful. Honestly, it's so powerful. I've actually just created my latest vision board. I haven't done one since I was ill, and I thought, why haven't I done one? I want all these things. I've got loads of new goals now. I want an even better car. I want a big house. I want a swimming pool. You know, all this sort of stuff. So I've actually created another vision board. So I would advise people to look into things like The Secret and the power of positivity and what you can really manifest if you put your mind to it and believe that you have it. And you know, if you don't get all these things that you wanted, at least you put your mind into a positive rather than negative state, and that is powerful in itself. You know, it doesn't matter if you don't come out with these exactly what you wanted, or exactly the car you wanted. You've changed your mind from a negative one to a positive one, because believing that you have something that you really, really desire is such a nice feeling. Honestly, it's just, I would just advise setting your goals, creating a vision board, having goals to set, because once you've got through that traumatic time, you've got your life back. You want to go 100 miles an hour, and you want to tick some things off. So find out what those things are, write them down, and look at them every single day and read them out every single day, and believe that you've already achieved them or you already have them, because it's going to happen. And you need to take those stepping stones to start getting to that goal and get into those goals that you want.
It's so true that when you just switch your mindset to saying, instead of saying I can't have that, your brain automatically goes into like shutdown mode. It's like, I can't, so therefore I'm not going to start looking for the answer. But if you switch just one word and say, how can I get that? Your brain goes into problem solving mode. It starts looking for an answer, and you can do it on a very small scale. It's, you know, let's say you're at home and you don't live anywhere near a gym, and, you know, you need to start losing some weight. Instead of saying, oh, I can't lose weight, you say, how can I lose weight? You know, you can buy Ben's course, or you can pick up a bottle of wine and do some bicep curls, or you can just do some squats or whatever it might be. But it's a how can I attitude rather than I can't. And look, Ben's living proof that if you plan to do something, it will come into fruition. You know what I'm going to say now, though? You know, we're going to have to do this again at some point in the future so that we can hear what's on your vision board that potentially might happen in a year's time. So can you share with us one or two things that are on your vision board that you think are achievable within a year, so that we can do this again and we can revisit and have some actual, you know, podcast proof that this is a real thing?
It'll be good for me as well, because I've said it live then, haven't I? So
exactly.
I have to do it. So a house is next. So I live in an apartment, which I love, but, you know, I've outgrown it now. So I want a house and a driveway that I can actually park my car on, so someone doesn't keep stealing my car space. Also, I want a nice car to go on that driveway. So yeah, something like a Range Rover Sport would be lovely. A Lamborghini, I think that's pushing it. That's my next vision board. But yeah, you know, a Range Rover Sport would be lovely. And what else did I put on there? I changed this is quite funny actually. I changed my bank balance. So I screenshotted my bank balance and changed it to, I doctored it and changed it to £1 million. That's quite a good one. That's quite funny. So you envision your bank, you look at your bank balance every day on the app, and you envision now it looks like that instead of what it looks like now. So yeah,
that.
You know, it's not all about money, but you know, I've definitely found happiness, and now I just want a few nice things.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, freedom. You know, money isn't the buy and end all, but it does give you freedom, and I think freedom is definitely a high quality in a lot of people's lives. And being able to have the freedom to do what it is you want, buy the nice house, get the nice car, swimming pool, live the life you want is just as important. And if money helps that, then that's the real way of looking at things.
Exactly.
Ben, look, you've said it here. It's on the air. You've got to live up to those expectations. But man, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here today. I would love to do this again with you at some point. I'm sure we'll get some messages through from people requesting you back on at some point. But man, as from me, I'll plug everything we've mentioned in today's show. I'll put it in the show notes below so people can find you on your website, social media. And obviously, if anybody wants to get in touch with Ben to talk more about his story or where he's going or his journey, or even just to get in touch and say, hey, you know, he's available on Instagram, as he said. And yeah, it's going to be
slide into my DMs.
Absolutely, slide into his DMs. One Ball Ben would love to hear from you.
I might have to change my name for a little bit to One Ball Ben.
Love that, man. It's good, man. Look, it's been an absolute pleasure, and look, I look forward to seeing you soon.
Cheers, Jack. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Take care.